Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola and his fellow ranters as they sound off on the latest movies, TV, and the world of entertainment. Now, here are your ranters for the hour, Marco, Mila, Larry, and Bruno.
Hello and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and I am joined once again by amazing wife, Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hi.
All right, gang. It is us tonight. We are talking about Titanic, the musical, now playing at the North Shore Music Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts. Amy, give us the dates for when it's running.
October 29th to November 10th.
All right, so you definitely have some more days to go out and see this amazing performance of Titanic. Right out the gates, I'm going to let everybody know, if you've not seen this before on Broadway and like that, it is not the movie. Okay? It is absolutely not the movie. Jack isn't there. Rose isn't there. There's nobody screaming at the bow of the ship, King of the World. It is not the movie. It's more of, I would think, obviously being a musical, but still, I don't want to say realistic telling, but, you know, more in depth about the people, the true live people that were actually on the boat, you know, including a lot of the famous people, the rich people, and things like that. So it seemed a little bit more, again, I don't want to say real, even though it's based on a real event. But, you know, and obviously there's a lot of music. It's mostly music, but it just seemed more natural to me. What did you think?
Well, I'm not going to compare it to the movie because...
Yeah, that's all. I'm not done. Yeah. I'm not done comparing it to. I just wanted to let people know that.
Yeah. So I thought it was a wonderful musical. I thought it was very, very well written. However, I struggled to get past the fact that I wanted to run up on stage and say to all these people, don't get on the boat.
It is the inherent issue when you go watch a play based on real events because you already know the outcome.
I know they're all going to die.
I mean, not everybody, but majority of people do. We know there were survivors, but
over half.
Over half, right? Exactly. We hadn't gotten to the stats yet, but yes, over half of the people did perish in this horrific tragedy. So let's jump right in. Honestly, you know, we know it's a theater in the round. We've talked about that many, many times. You know, minimal sets, but incredible sets on this one. Really, really, you know, they redid the stage, so there's a lot of different on-off points.
Yes.
As well as stairs, blue like neon lights underneath sort of the edges of the stage. Really gave you that boat feel. You know, the wood that looked like a deck, obviously, but trimmed in like that white trim to it. Really made it look like they were on a boat.
There was a thing to go under. There was a crow's nest. There was a thing to go under, like to the machine room.
Yeah, to the engine
and then
rooms,
there were
where they stocked the boilers and everything. Yep.
And then there were the lifeboats, right? Which were screens.
Right, because they've added screens since Frozen, right? These were shaped like lifeboats, and every other one had video on it.
Yes.
Well, the other ones didn't, but that was, you know, off on purpose, obviously. But they're all sort of painted like a lifeboat.
Yes.
With like hanging oars next to them. Super cool. So it made it look like the lifeboats that were on the Titanic. Super cool.
Not nearly enough of them.
Not nearly enough. Sure, we needed more luxury room. You needed more luxury room for the
first class.
For first class space. Yes.
Yes.
So we forego some of the lifeboats that we needed to service everybody.
And we launched them not full.
That's right. That is another true fact. So, you know, it is a musical, but it is based on real events with, I would assume, a lot of true facts and most likely some artistic license because it was a Broadway musical,
The boats is not artistic license. That is fact.
No, I know that. We're just talking about the interactions with the people.
Well, I think the majority of them are license, right?
Yes.
Like, I think you have a passenger manifest with people's names, and, people like John Jacob Astor, Isidore Strauss, Benjamin Guggenheim, Ida Strauss. Like, these are people who are known in their known quantities, and you would know how to portray them, and there are facts, right? The Strausses chose to go down with the boat.
Yeah.
because they weren't going to.
Well, he didn't want to separate. They'd been with each other for so long.
She didn't want to separate. He didn't want to go before the younger men. He wanted her to live. She didn't want to be without him.
Yeah.
John Jacob Astor, I don't think made it off in real life, but all of these things, along with, there were a ton of third-class passengers who I'm sure we know nothing about.
Yeah.
And plenty of them died. And
I would think the majority of them, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong, but they were sort of like locked down there. Like they had cut off a lot of the ways for them to get out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, the movie had a lot of that as well. But like I think this was known to be fact that they did that, and it was most likely on purpose because they wanted the first class and some of the second class to be able to get on the lifeboats, especially the first class. Obviously, they were going to give special treatment to them.
Yes.
So by keeping the third class, they basically, and they talked about it during the performance, that they basically were playing God by deciding who lives and who dies by doing things like this.
So I think with the musical in particular, people like Ismay and
That SOB.
and Andrews. I mean, Andrews is a real person. He's the one who designed the Titanic.
Yes.
Ismay is, he was the head of the White Star Line.
Right.
He'd inherited it from his father.
Right.
The captain.
This is sort of his big outing, big maiden voyage of a brand new, the biggest ship to ever sail type of thing, and he wanted it to go, perfectly, and he wanted to get it to New York on time, to make for the for the news, for the papers, and be things. So obviously, and we know a lot of the story that he pushed the captain to make the boat go faster and faster. And to be truthful, they had sort of designed the ship to do that, but the captain knew better. And this was its maiden voyage, and you don't, you get a brand new car off the lot, you don't just start jamming it on. You got to break it in a little bit first.
Well, and the other thing that he did was take a more northern route, right? That he needed to because it was shorter.
Right.
But guess what?
A lot of icebergs.
A lot of ice.
Right ahead.
A lot of ice up there.
Yeah.
So it was really beautiful. Lyrically, the music, it drew you in.
So let's talk about that. Obviously, it is a full-blown, non-stop musical, and it's
as opposed to what?
Well, some of the obviously
stopping musical.
Some of the other shows, Smarty Pants. Some of the other shows that we've seen, which have been musicals, I think had sort of less song, more dialogue in between the songs. This was amazing. I'm not complaining. This was amazing. Just song after song. One song ran into another, ran into it was just.
Usually you don't like that, so I'm surprised.
I know. I usually don't, but I was absolutely captivated from the first note, from the first song when they are coming in, and the first song. Give us the name.
Prologue in every age.
Yes, those ones. As soon as you hit that, it really hits the ground running. And the songs are incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. The subject matter is powerful. So the songs, I thought, really illustrated how powerful the subject was and what was going to happen, and gave gravitas to the whole weight of this, impending, tragedy. And it was, I was blown away. I was blown away by the songs. Like you said, I'm not usually all about the music, and I want to hear more dialogue, and we got enough. I felt like we got enough dialogue, and I really enjoyed.
This is more the modern musical, dear. More song, less dialogue.
Yeah, and like I said, I was totally, with this particular one, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I really was drawn in by the music, and it was into a point, the music was so well done, you could hear it didn't just song, right? They so told the story with the songs, and like I said, the songs are super powerful. So you got such a weight of what everybody was going through, even before the hits the iceberg, right? Their lives and what people are trying to do, and who they're trying to be. Mm-hmm. People trying to be above their station and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, so we can talk about Alice and Edgar now. They're some of the major people, right? Mm-hmm. And Alice is just enthralled with First Class. Wants so much more than her husband does.
Yeah.
And spends
he's fine with Second Class. He's totally cool with it.
He's fine with where he is.
Yeah.
And she wants to be, like the Astors, like the Strausses, just way up there. And she really, Alice really spends all her time focused on this and how can she get there, so much so that she misses what's right in front of her.
Yeah.
And how much she loves her husband.
Yeah.
Which is really quite sad.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have the other couple.
Right, who won really was first class. Like her father was first class, and then but he wasn't.
Lady Caroline.
Yes, and then the
and
father
Charles.
didn't want them to get married, so they're heading off to New York to have their own life, and she almost she basically abandons the first class lifestyle to be with him. And I don't know that he could handle that as well as, you know what I mean? Like he seemed like he struggled with that.
Well, I think it's a lot to struggle with.
I think so.
Thinking
of jealousy and or just like feeling.
I don't even know about jealousy,
feeling
but not
less than.
Sure, or maybe not wanting her to have regret.
Yeah.
Because she gave up a lot to be with him.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of fear there. In that, but I think that a lot of it was there's many different actors in this company, and there's many people on the ship to portray.
Yeah.
And many people played a variety of roles.
Yeah.
Which I always like because it moves, it keeps the cast small but it moves things quickly. And, you don't notice. Like you do and you don't if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
Like people who...
I got to say, this one I didn't notice. I was actually looking for it because I knew, because obviously I'd seen the program, things like that. I did not say that it was like a super secret squirrel, but like it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like I was watching the same people playing multiple roles.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think
it just didn't feel that way to me.
I don't think it ever really feels like that when I see it, but I think...
I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I get that. I get a little feeling. I'm like, yeah, that person just changed, and they're doing they're doing this character now. Got it. This one just didn't feel that way. Maybe because it moves at a pretty good pace.
It does.
The whole show, it moved, because of the music, because it's so heavy and so exciting. Honestly, it moved at a really good clip. So, which I also appreciate.
I did too. The first act was much longer than the second.
Yes.
Which is also okay with me.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot. But at the very end of Act 1, you have the guy in the crow's nest, and he's looking out at the night in the iceberg, and I almost want to be like, God, just see the iceberg, just hit the iceberg. Like, I couldn't...
Yeah.
It built the suspense so
Great suspense. Really good suspense.
In that moment, even though you knew exactly what was coming.
Yeah.
And there was part of me that was just like, oh God, I want it to be over. I want it to be over.
I know. It was tangible, very tangible suspense going on, which I thought was awesome. And, again, what's going to happen, but I wanted to see how they portrayed it. How do they portray the ship hitting the berg, if you will, and all that. And I thought that was well done. It was not very special effects heavy. It was more, like not even just like lighting and things. It was just so much the tension for the people. Really is what built it up. Do you know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense, it just, and kudos to the director, to the actors, everybody else, and of course the amazing orchestra that they have over there at North Shore. Just incredible.
Let's talk. So sets were minimal.
Yep.
I thought, so what I really liked and noticed was they had two different sets of rails. So
yes,
like
the straight rails and
the slanted ones when they were
sinking. Yes, that I thought that I picked up on that was pretty ingenious. I like that.
It was awesome.
Well, we're sinking.
Yep.
The rails are the slant.
Really awesome. I liked that.
That was pretty cool. Well done. Very well done.
And again, the set was pretty minimal because that's how it needs to be in theater in the round. But you did feel like, the floor. How they built the stage, the lights, all of those pieces made it really easy to see yourself there. I always feel like every time I walk in there, I know it's the same space, and it feels different.
It does, doesn't it? It really does. It really, really does. Yeah.
And this definitely felt like a ship from the minute you walked in and saw all of the things, like the pieces just hanging there.
Yes.
Like the discards from the remnants from the wreck, right?
Right, that are just floating in the water. Yeah, exactly.
It would just be floating in the water.
It's floating now, but yes.
The deck chairs.
Yeah.
The angel that was on the.
Yeah.
Thing.
I mean, it felt like everything was still falling to the bottom.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything now is settled to the bottom, but it's not
Quite a
floating
long
anymore.
time.
But a long time ago. But that made it seem like it was in motion. It was happening while we were walking in and being there. So I thought that was really cool. And you got the grand ballroom and the different parts of the ship. The boiler room, when they lifted up the stage parts and there was the smoke and the light coming from it and they were stoking the boilers. That was cool. That was real cool.
With the shovels?
With the shovels hitting but then they were using the shovels to the music, to the beat, to get you in, engaged in this heavy song of these guys down there just sweating it out, putting coal into the boilers. You know what I mean? Like, really cool. Really, really cool.
I loved the shovels. I love how they hit in unison.
Yep.
And through in unison. It was very well choreographed.
Super well choreographed. This definitely would have been the one for Sam to see. It's too bad she wasn't able to be there. But yeah, absolutely.
That I did really enjoy that. I'm trying to look. I don't know if that was which song that was, because I feel like they're not. I don't know if that was Barrett's song, "The Screws Are Turning." They were talking about turning the screws.
Yeah.
It's about loosening the like the stove to let the fire run more. I think I don't really. I didn't totally understand it, and obviously that's how you get more power to the ship.
Yes.
More coal you shovel in.
Right.
You burn more fire. You burn more fuel. You go faster.
Yes, definitely. Costumes. Let's go over costumes. Thoughts?
As always, I think, God, they must be hot under those lights.
No kidding. Definitely.
Because there were a lot of layers this time.
Sure.
Like, it was
Time
cold.
period, obviously, yeah.
Well, it was cold. They were formal. Everyone was dressed.
Yeah.
I always like to see the jewelry. I always like to see the details in the costuming, the jewelry, the gloves, the fur, Mrs. Astor being pregnant, and how she wasn't pregnant when she was also one of her other roles.
Right.
Different pieces like that.
Yeah.
The costuming was, as always, is pretty spot on.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah, it draws you in and really helps you to be there in the moment, in the present, in that particular time period. It's just, they do such an amazing job. I really do. I really love it. I love watching it.
So, in the first act, was there a song that you liked?
I would love to say yes, and I'm sure there was. But again, it was so compact with songs, it's hard to pick them out. It's hard to pick it out. I mean, I think, to me, one of the most powerful one was the opening when everybody gets on, you know what I mean? When you see everybody on the ship and things like that, and they're all basically doing the farewell to the people on shore. You know how they do that?
Yeah.
That one was like, they're just basically announcing that they're on Titanic. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was super powerful for me.
Did you see the guy who arrived late?
Yes.
And he was I'm going to be the laughing stock of Poughkeepsie. And
Yeah,
I was
that would've
like,
been your
no,
mother.
you're going to be alive.
That would have been your mother.
Brother.
That would have been your mother. I'm late.
One time would have served her well.
Right? Definitely.
I really liked Lady's Maid with the Kates.
Yes.
Kate McGowan.
Yep.
Kate Mullins, Kate Murphy. I don't know, talked about it showed you, the majority of people on that boat were in third class.
Right, sure.
And those people, they like a lot of immigrants were coming here to, because the streets are paved with gold and all of those things about America, and they're just coming here to have a better life. And here's this woman dreaming about being a lady's maid, and she's floating on the death ship.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to get.
I know. You definitely had a hard time with this one. I know, and I feel it. I feel it. But
there are a lot of musicals. I know the end.
Yeah.
I know the end of Evita. I know she's going to die.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's different, though. I think.
Yeah. This is tragedy.
Yeah.
I
And
know
not to
the
say that
end
hers wasn't, but she did a lot.
Well, yes, it was tragedy in a different way. This is and I think the part with this is very avoidable tragedy.
Sure.
They could have had enough lifeboats for everybody.
Yeah.
They needed them.
They could have slowed the hell down and gone a different road and not through the icy water.
They could have, not
many
launched
things.
the lifeboats empty.
Yeah.
or, you know.
I mean, it still would have, saved enough people, but it would have saved more.
Well, I mean,
It would have
yes.
more. Again, even at full capacity, there wasn't enough for everybody.
No, I think they only had 20-something and they needed 42.
Yeah, it was some insane number, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like double. They needed like basically double the amount that they had. I mean, imagine trying to get away with that today. Like literally putting a ship together with all the regulations and everything that are out there, that you have a ship that doesn't have enough lifeboats to cover all the people on board. That would never happen.
Or vests.
Yeah, that would never ever happen nowadays. And not just because of Titanic, obviously. That I'm sure that helped spur regulations. We saw the Senate hearing stuff at the end, the beginning and the end. I'm sure there was a lot of new things put into place because of it. But now it's 2024. Obviously, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. You know how much regulation goes into what they do. There would never be a ship launched without enough.
And
It would be allowed.
well, and for good reason.
Yeah, sure.
'Cause
we know what happened.
We did stupid things.
Yes, we did stupid things. Absolutely.
Watching, like, in the second act, like, the entire second act was just incredibly powerful and very hard to watch. Like, after the Strausses have decided that they're not going to get on the boat,
yeah.
and Mrs. Strauss puts her life vest on the bellboy.
Yeah.
Oh, I cried.
Yeah, I know. Bellboy was amazing.
He was.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
Yeah. Very.
What did you get the name on that one? It's a big cast. It's kind of hard.
It's a little bit difficult to pronounce. Meag, O'Meara, they
Yeah.
were the bellboy.
Okay.
Yeah, they were quite talented.
Awesome. What about the steward, the guy who's
Etchis?
yes.
Etchis?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's just some characters that kind of, they walk you through it. They bring you along, and they really hold it all together with glue. And they're the kind of the ones that kind of come in and out, and sort of, and then of course because they deal with so many different people, they're the cartilage, if you will. You know what I mean? Or tendons, to hold it all together between the different groups. So obviously they talk to people in the second class, even third class, first class. You know what I mean? They deal with so much. It's a great little runner. It's almost like if you ever saw Four Rooms, and what's his name plays the bellboy, basically. Tim Roth plays the bellboy. So it's four different vignettes of like short stories essentially, and he's the current. He's like the go between. He doesn't really talk. It's almost like a Mr. Bean performance throughout the whole thing. He talks. He's like the cartilage between everybody. It's pretty cool. So I like that. I love their performances. They were really good.
They were very good. I think in the second act, I cried a lot.
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yes, you did.
I cried quite a bit. Spoiler alert. First of all,
Okay, they know.
well, I'm sure anybody who was
They know
in
you.
my row.
You've been on the
knew.
podcast before. They know.
So first of all, there was a delightful scene where there was a mother and father
with the little baby.
with a little baby,
Yeah.
a boy, conveniently, because that's what I needed. And the mother and the son go get in the lifeboat, and father stays on the boat to die.
Sure, because we don't,
Because
we don't freeze. Men don't
Yep.
freeze.
well, no, women and children, they're more
I know.
helpless.
I get it.
You're supposed to, that's your role in life. You're
I
supposed to
know.
let-
Same thing with the Burnings building. We
Yeah.
have to stay like we're not flammable. Yeah, I get it.
You're flammable.
Exactly right. We also sink like a stone.
Yeah, but you sacrifice for your wife and child. Anyways, there was that.
Yeah.
Then there were all the people leaving their husbands, getting on the boat. Then there were the Strausses staying on the boat. Then there were, oh my God, all I did was cry. It was so powerfully done. And even though I knew what was going to happen, didn't change it. Didn't make it any different. Didn't
How could
stop
it
me
make it
from
different?
crying.
How could it make it any different? Yes, you can know what's going to happen, but it's still a horrific tragedy. And you see these things and you identify, like you said, the mother and the son. We have a son. If I had to stay behind, and believe me, I would turn my hair into pigtails in 2 fucking seconds, and I'd be on that damn boat. Look at me, yay! I'm on that damn boat. Look at me. So, yeah.
You're not funny.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course you identify, but also I think I knew the scale of the tragedy, and sometimes when you know that, it's helpful. It's not as deeply impactful, and yet I knew the full scale of the tragedy, and I was so drawn in.
Yes, because
and
it's
I was
amazing performances.
And I was so engaged that it, whether I identified with them or not, it brought it to a much higher level.
Yeah, but because the performances were so in depth and rich and real. Do you know what I mean? Like it was incredible. Like the parts where like the people are crying and things like that's some amazing performances up there, right? They really draw you in. They really look like they were crying for real, not acting crying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's incredible to watch them do that, to watch that craft and watch people who are so good at it. You know what I mean? Just to see that and you're like, oh my God, this is getting me going. You know, this has got me hooked here. These people are really pulling it through. Are they really crying? Are they not really crying? Like, it was tough. So you're right along. You're right there on the ride with them. You know what I mean?
I was really crying.
You were no, I know that the actors. You were definitely really crying. You were definitely right there with them.
Removing all suspense for the audience. I was really crying.
Yes, you were, dear. Yes, you were.
Yep, it was very sad.
Big old crybaby. It's okay. It's why I love you.
People who live in glass houses.
Listen to me. Yeah. Listen to me.
Yeah, you listen to me too. No, so I think the entire second act, like more than the first act, like I can envision something that came up with every one of these songs. In the first act, there were so many of them, and they kind of like, not that they ran together, but there were chunks of them. But the second act is really seared into my memory.
Yeah.
The part, particularly the song "The Blame," where it's the captain and Ismay and Mr. Andrews. So Andrews, who built the ship, Ismay, who owns the White Star Line, who's pushing them, and the captain of the boat, all blaming each other.
Yeah,
and
so
the reality
the finger pointing,
the reality is, it's all of you, because Ismay could have pushed. Ismay did push. And you didn't have to give in, Captain.
Right.
And Andrews designed what he thought was, I mean,
if you look at it, I think it's least of all his fault. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the ship, with the way it was designed, could have very easily gotten across and made its destination if the other guys didn't do what they do, especially Ismay. But again, like you said, the captain, at the end of the day, he has the final decision. And it was kind of like, well, he's retiring, so why the hell am I going to bother pushing back? I'll just do what he wants and shut him up, and that's fine. I get the hell off this boat, not knowing what's going to happen.
And isn't it nice to be heroic on your final voyage?
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Talk about going out with a bang.
Right, exactly. So,
and the motivation, everyone's motivation is slightly different, but they all hold apart. Andrew's probably least of all, but maybe there were things he could have changed in his design. Although,
well, he said that. The bulk of the things could have been taller.
Yeah,
they should have been 2 stories taller. I forget if that was a design, like something he just decided not to do, or I forget if there was a reason because they needed this. If I forget exactly,
I forget that part. I do remember that there didn't have enough lifeboats because they needed more room for the first class salon.
Again, not necessarily his fault.
No, that's all Ismay.
Ismay he did not want that. He wanted the lifeboats. Obviously, being an expert in what he does, he knew they needed it. He knew exactly how many there should have been. And again, the bulkheads being 2 stories taller was clearly a design choice, but again, wouldn't have been a problem if they didn't go where they went and as fast as they were going and skipped. One thing I didn't quite understand, because I'm not a captain and I don't drive boats, but the captain was basically like, if we just hit the iceberg straight on.
That was the first mate.
The first mate. Excuse me. You're right. The first mate. If we had just hit the iceberg straight on, this wouldn't have happened.
So I think
they cut it on the side.
Right. I think that the front part there is more reinforced, and it wouldn't have, like, by trying to turn and avoid it, they ended up hitting a wider swath of the ship.
Right, they scraped a hell of a lot more of the ship.
And so that weakened it more and allowed more water to come in. Yeah. Whereas if they had just hit it head on, the damage might have been less.
Right.
And they just could have kept going.
Yeah. It stayed up there, until another boat came and got them. You don't want to try to keep sailing with that much damage on the front of your boat either, but still. It wouldn't have sank the ship.
Are you a sailor now?
Huh?
You're a sailor now?
Well, just going over what they said.
No.
We're trying to determine from what they said.
No, they said.
I'm sailing. That's well, the boat did most of the work, but I'm sailing. I sailed.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob Wiley.
Just to be clear, we don't have the rights to that material, but
I'm baby stepping.
Yeah, we sure a mess. It is. Yeah, it was very. That song held a lot of gravitas.
Yes.
And I was very angry during that song, and I wanted to be like, "You just stop it, Ismay. It's your fault."
I know. Oh my God. I mean, if you look at, like, how do you rate it? I think we said though we know who's in the least, but Captain Ismay. I mean, I still put Ismay as the bigger jackass above even the captain, even though it's ultimately his decision. It's his boat.
However, is it though, because Ismay signs his paycheck?
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's still sort of a thing where, like, you can sign my paycheck, but once you step on this vessel, it's almost like I don't work for you. You are mine because I'm the captain, and every single life on this boat is my responsibility. So you have to kind of separate that. Oh, that's my boss, and he wants me to do stupid shit, and I know because I'm the expert of sailing, and he's not. He's a dude in a suit, and I'm the captain who has way more decades on this guy just in life in general, let alone on the seas. I shouldn't listen to him. I don't have to listen to him. You can fire me all you want. What are you going to do? Throw me off the boat?
But
you need me to get to your destination, so calm yourself down, and I'm going to do this because I'm the expert, not you. And you're going to endanger everybody with your stupidity, so I'm not going to let you do that.
You've been out of corporate for too long, dear. That's not how it works, and you know it. It isn't. You've been out of corporate way too long.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I've this is also a different situation where it's life or death. I was never in. I worked for a sound engineering company. We made speakers. There was nothing life or death of what we did. So if my boss wanted to do stupid shit, go for it. Why do I care? But if it was going to cause somebody's life or death and they were doing something stupid, yeah, I would have pushed back and fired me. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm not saying the captain is blameless.
Right.
I am saying and I think the captain could have definitely stood up and taken a stronger stand with Ismay, for sure.
I still put Ismay at the top of the blame list.
I do think, but I think you can't forget that relationship is not inherently equal, right? There's an unequal power differential there. Like there are in a lot of relationships. And so the captain was only going to push back so much. In addition to, he liked what Ismay was selling, right?
That was the problem.
Yes, he liked what Ismay was selling.
He bought into the I can be a hero, I can make it on time, and you know what I mean, my last voyage, and you go out with like a bang, go out like a rock star essentially. Before there were rock stars. Like go out, you know what I mean?
Well, it colored his judgment.
Yeah.
And had him take risks that he didn't need to take.
Right.
Yes. Sure, they got a ton of iceberg warnings.
Yeah, he ignored them. Mm-hmm. That is his fault.
Well, that's hubris.
Yeah, that's 100% his fault.
Because the Titanic was unsinkable.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it sank. It sank like a stone. It went down.
I think it was over 1,000 people.
Yeah, it was something like 1,200. It was definitely over 1,000 people that perished in this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. People have asked you, like, going to actual reality here. It's a side note, like, when they do, they dive down to their actual Titanic, people have always wondered why you don't see people.
Really?
Yeah. Why don't you see the bodies from all, like, 1,200 people?
Have you heard of sharks?
No, it's not the sharks. There aren't necessarily even sharks down that deep, dear.
But
I'll tell you why. It's the pressure. The pressure that's down there, and over the time of the years, it actually has disintegrated the people. Their bones and everything have completely disintegrated. The sharks don't even go down that far because it's too deep.
Yes, but originally, dear, you forget they were on the top. There was plenty of eating happening.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But eventually, people sank. Eventually, the bodies did sink. And, they did, and that's why you don't. So, and then remember, there were some people that never made it off the boat. They went down with the boat, right? Like a lot of the third-class people who couldn't get out were still stuck in the boat. They weren't floating on the top. They went down with it.
No, there were plenty of people floating on the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying there weren't, but were 1,000 people on the top? No. A lot of the people, as we saw, couldn't even get to the top deck. They were still stuck in the boat because they were trapped in their area, like in third class, where they couldn't get through the gates because they were locked. So they were stuck in the boat when it went down. Because of the pressure. Not that I researched, I saw a complete special on this. One of those National Geographic, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about it because of all the stuff that people have been doing recently with trying to...
But yeah,
all that talk about lifting the Titanic. And
bottles of wine.
Which they can't do.
Why can't they lift it?
Oh, it's so disintegrated right now, it would basically just fall apart.
But like
there's just no safe way to lift the whole thing now. It's been so long that the whole thing would just basically turn to dust if you tried.
That's sad. But there are deck chairs and...
Yeah, those float. They were on the deck. It's wood, it floats.
Wood sinks when it gets wet. Did you see the whole boat that sank?
Yes, that was a boat with steel. It sank.
Yeah, and wood.
There was a lot of wood, yes, but there was a lot of wood attached to steel.
I know,
it was dragged down by the steel.
I'm just telling you, like, wood also sinks, my love. It doesn't always float.
Over time, yes, absolutely. But that stuff's there. A lot of that stuff they still find. They still, like, there's this whole, you saw the thing, there's a whole exhibit with artifacts from the Titanic, like plates and all these other things that didn't, but organic material.
Interesting.
I know. I saw it on special.
For the listeners.
I saw it on the special that I watched.
I still say sharks too.
Oh, definitely. The people on top and stuff like that, absolutely there was shark feet.
There are sharks down that deep.
My little lion chow.
Haven't you been reading Goodnight Sharks with me? The goblin shark is very much...
Oh, good Lord. The children's story. We're going to bring that into the...
Goblin shark, I'm telling you. But I know I know shark facts.
Oh, no. Here we go. Bring it on.
Just wait. I'll have more after we go to the next aquarium.
I can't wait.
More shark
looking forward to that.
Yeah. Maybe I can share them with the people on the Christmas Carol broadcast. We'll work it in.
What'd they feed the lions, Mother?
The floating bodies of dead sinners. I also don't own the rights to that material.
It's okay. It's Big Bang Theory. It doesn't matter. We're doing a podcast that we don't have to make money on. It's okay.
I'm just saying.
It's all right.
I'm just saying.
They know us by now. It's all good. So.
Who? The Big Bang Theory?
No. The listeners. They know. They know what we do. We do a lot of quoting on this show.
Oh, good.
Yes,
I can't wait till we get sued.
Oh, please. Yeah, they would. If we were making money on the show, they would. If we're not, they don't. We do it for fun.
We do it for fun.
Absolutely. So, all right. What else do you want to talk about? It's a very packed show. It's very packed from beginning to end.
Dense, if you will.
Dense. It's very dense, which I loved. Again, I love that because it kept me just attention the whole way. It kept my attention the entire time. There could have been people talking around us I didn't even notice. There weren't, thank God. But unlike last time, but there weren't, and it was just incredible. It's a real review of the show.
Yes.
And part of the show is the theater going experience.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about it. Talk about the theater going experience. Sometimes it's just informational. If you're sitting at a show, shut up. People are trying to watch the show.
Can we please move on from this?
We are moving on. This time there was people trying to clean the floor because something spilled and it was sticky two seats away from us.
Apple cider.
And in the middle of the show, not intermission, in the middle of the show, the lady comes up and crouches and sits there trying to wipe the floor, causing all kinds of commotion. I'm like, will you go away? We're trying to watch a show. Nobody cares about the sticky floor.
She left pretty quickly, dear.
Oh, God bless her. She was just trying to help. She was just trying to do her thing.
And she left pretty quickly.
Oh, please.
Yeah, it was fine.
And again, she wasn't sitting in front of me, but she was sitting in front of the poor couple that was under them while they're trying to watch the show. She's like talking to them.
I know, dear, and she was doing the best that she could.
I was cracking up. These poor people.
Yes.
My other favorite part was right at the beginning when the actors come down. There's a lot of them just standing, you know,
in the aisles.
And this poor guy is in the front row, and an actor just stands right in front of him. right in front of him, and I could see this poor guy like, what the hell? I can't see anything anymore because there's a lot of stuff happening on the stage. And I think Ismay was on there, and they're all kind of like introducing and talking. And
the initial Senate hearings.
oh my God, they're sitting right in front of this poor guy. He couldn't see anything.
And that's going to happen in theater in the round.
I know.
And it was over very fast.
No, they were there for a while, but because there were a lot of people like in the aisles and stuff like that, and you could see around them. But this poor guy,
But that's something.
right? He could have shook their hand and like, "Hey, you want to move?" It was great.
It was great.
It was great. It's always something. There's always something. It's all right. It's okay.
Only if you choose to complain about it, dear.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not even complaining. It didn't happen to me. I'm not complaining.
And yet you still brought it up.
Sure, I'm a realist. I see things. I point things out. I observe. I observe the world around me. I do not have tunnel vision or blinders on. I see everything.
Do you feel my eyes rolling?
I can hear them rolling from here.
Yeah. I'm sure the audience can too.
Yes.
This is ridiculous nonsense you are spewing.
Utter.
Complete nonsense you are spewing.
But it's funny. It's good.
Oh, these people should be married to you.
That's right.
Good luck,
Oh,
Lucky.
Can I handle you? I gotta handle more. I don't think so.
You're lucky. Just remember that.
Lucky. Awesome.
that.
All right. Back to the show. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up this episode?
No, as always, I truly, truly enjoyed it.
Yes.
I think it was a very powerful show. I'm glad I saw it.
Yep.
Not sure I would ever see it again.
Right. It's worth seeing, and it's really worth seeing multiple times. It's just such a heavy, obviously because the tragedy, what's happening. It is so heavy. It's hard to think like, holy crap, am I really going to put myself through that again? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Especially since you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it is, though. I can't say enough how really well written, well directed, well choreographed of a show it is.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, you got to see it at least once.
It would be a really
you have
tough
to see it at
second
least
watch
once.
again. Oh, but yes, absolutely.
100%.
You need to see it.
You definitely need to see it.
Absolutely.
So it's at the North Shore Music Theater from October 29th through November 10th. You can go to the nsmt.org. Only to get tickets. Do not try to go from some third-party vendor or anything like that, scalpers or anything like that. There's a lot of people getting ripped off out there on the tickets and stuff like that.
There's a big fine about it in the lobby.
Yeah,
this time.
I know. It is sad. It is sad. You know what I mean? When people take advantage like that. And so, yeah, go to nsmt.org. Get your tickets there. Don't get them anywhere else. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, really, if you're going to do yourself a favor, just become a season ticket.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Be a subscriber. And because, they have a lot of new stuff coming up next year. Let's talk about that before we jump off.
They do.
Do you remember what they're doing? I know they're doing the shark one, basically.
Yes, but I don't remember the name of the shark one.
Oh, he said it like twice. We've seen it both times, and I can't remember either. Basically, it's the making of Jaws.
Yes.
Essentially. So I'm really interested in that one because I love that movie. So that one's going to be pretty good.
I am too.
What else they got going on? Rent?
No.
I hear Rent is coming back?
Hold on.
All right there, Sparky. You
Hold
go
on.
for it.
We're going to start the season with Waitress.
Waitress, okay.
Waitress the musical, which
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
It's great.
I know you do, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm very excited about it.
Well, you're excited about it, so I'm excited about it because, like I said, I have no idea what it is, but if you're excited,
Then next
I know it's going to be good.
is The Wizard of Oz.
I'm excited for that. You're not.
Nope. Not even a little bit.
Why?
I do not like The Wizard of Oz
Why?
because I do not like it.
Sam, I am. Okay, fine.
I do not like the flying monkeys. I do not like the Yellow Brick Road.
And she does not like green eggs and ham.
I do not like the Wicked Witch of the West.
All right. Interesting. Fantastic.
I don't. Although I do like Elphaba and Wicked. But I do not like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
So, know that distinction.
Okay.
Then next is Grease.
Yes. I have never seen a live production of Grease.
Neither have I.
So I'm super excited for that. I love the movie.
Yeah.
I know the play is always amazing, so I'm looking forward to that.
And then fourth is Rent.
Right.
They've never done Rent there.
I've never seen Rent.
Nor have I. Only theater kid of my generation that never got to see Rent. So
I weep for your childhood. Anyway.
I weep for your childhood.
I know.
And then the
It's so
fifth one
different.
is a surprise.
Yes.
And we can't say what it is. Not that we know.
No, we don't know.
We have absolutely no idea. But Bill Haney got on the stage and said...
Oh, he was naughty.
Said, I got you, babe.
I can't tell you what it is, but I got you, babe.
But I got you, babe.
Yeah.
So
speculation?
Well, I mean...
Pure speculation.
Pure speculation. It's some kind of Sonny and Cher musical.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I...
I don't know what that would be, but yeah.
I don't know either, but there must be some either written or coming, or...
Yeah.
We should Google it.
We should use the Google machine.
Yes.
Hey, Google. We'll do that.
And that's next year, but we forgot...
We haven't forgot anything yet. We haven't got anything that's coming up. We still have left this year.
A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Our favorite.
And we should have I'm still not letting the cat out of the bag on this one.
Yeah.
We still have a potentially very surprise guest who we're going to do on this podcast. We're going to talk to on this podcast and get that released before the musical starts. So I think I'm going to release that in 2 parts. So we'll do the interview. Mm-hmm. And then that'll be one release date for podcast, and then we'll do our normal review.
Oh, nice! I like that.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna have a lot of people on this one. I think Larry wants to go, and a lot of people that haven't been with us before.
Oh, that would be nice.
So we can have a big, and we can get tickets. We're actually gonna get the tickets. So we're gonna get that, and we'll bring a bigger group, so we'll get more input on the show. Because obviously we've done this a number of times already, and that might just get a little bit boring for people to keep hearing us talk about it. But yeah, we got some special stuff coming up, so I'm excited about.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be super cool.
4th year in a row we've seen it.
I know, it's amazing. Eventually we're gonna bring the kid. I still think it's too early. He gets really spooked out about certain things.
Yeah, it's way too early.
It's too spooky.
It is spooky.
It's spooky. So we don't
want to be in my lap.
Exactly, and we don't want him to have to leave. We don't want to have to leave in the middle of the show, because obviously if he's not happy about it, we would leave. So.
Yes, but he went it through all the way through Frozen, a Broadway musical, twice.
Yeah, but that's different. That's not spooky.
No.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's different. The ghost stuff with the Marley stuff and things like that, I think would be.
I don't know if he'll make
much.
it through The Wizard of Oz. We'll have to see.
I was not planning on taking him to The Wizard of Oz.
I can't believe you weren't. I think we should.
No, I think with the witch, and I don't know if they'll do the flying monkeys and all that kind of stuff,
we'll see.
but
I think it would be good for him. It's the kids' musical.
yeah. All right. I mean, obviously he'll be closer to 5 by then.
He likes theater.
He does love theater, and he loves going to the North Shore Music Theater.
He loves live theater.
How great was that when we were done with Frozen, and when he would go to our school and sing with the microphone on and his Elsa cape, and I have to do Let It Go from the North Shore Music, from Frozen the Broadway musical at the North Shore Musical there. He said every time
at the North Shore Music Theater.
Every time he would say the whole thing, including at the North Shore Music Theater.
He loved it.
It was part of his speech every time he said he had to sing Let It Go. It's absolutely hysterical. So, to that being said, the theater obviously made a huge impression on him.
Yeah, he loved it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a family place to go.
He'd never seen Frozen before.
No, he had never seen the movie. Nope. He's finally watched it since then. After twice watching it in the theater and then a bunch of times listening to songs, I finally got him to actually watch the movie. And he liked it. He wanted to watch it again. So, yeah, it was good. He's not a huge movie watcher.
He's 4.
I know that, but I'm just saying, it was even tough to get him through Paw Patrol movie. It doesn't, but it's aimed at kids like him.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I get it, but he's too much with the YouTube kids, the short videos.
And whose fault is that?
I'm going to say yours. And that's Entertainment Rants for this evening. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, we are brought to you by the Subculture Podcast Network. Definitely check them out at bio.link/subculturepod. I want to thank my amazing wife, Amy. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
There it is. All right, gang. Don't forget to look us up online. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Check us out on our website at entertainmentrants.com. Leave us a note. Let us know what you thought of the podcast tonight. Also, let us, if you go see Titanic, let us know what you thought of it. We want to hear your words and your thoughts and things like that. All right. Again, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
And we'll see everybody later. What are we going to go do, Amy?
Let's rant.
Let's rant.